Oh, so here you are having an anxiety attack. Your body's doing unpredictable things. You might feel hot and cold, shaky or tense, nauseous or dizzy. Your breathing or heart rate might be all over the place. Maybe you're crying. Basically, your fight, flight, freeze response has overpowered your emotional regulation system. Now, I've made a handful of videos on how to manage panic and anxiety attacks, but I'm gonna be honest. When I'm overwhelmed with emotion, deep breathing isn't my favorite way to manage it. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through what I actually do, my favorite way to calm down and work through an anxiety attack. And I'm gonna call it the activate method. And as we do it, feel free to pause the video as you do the steps with me. So let's go. Okay, first, there are two things that don't usually work with anxiety attacks: trying to force yourself to calm down and trying to think your way out of this. So we have to do something with the fight, flight, freeze response. There's a time for good thinking later, so here's what you do right now. You've got to burn off those stress chemicals first. The best way to do this is through physical movement. You've got to get a physical release. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed by anxiety, I usually go for a very brisk walk. But you could do some jumping jacks or push-ups or wall squats in your office. The fight, flight, freeze response has bottled up inside of you, so let's try to burn off some of those stress chemicals so that we can think clearly. So go ahead, go for a brisk walk, or do a deep wall sit or a deep squat in your office if you can't leave. I'm gonna be showing some B-roll here because I can't talk calmly when I'm doing a brisk walk. Okay, whenever possible, do this physical movement until you start to feel yourself calm down a little. You might start to feel a little tired, maybe your heart will slow down, or your breathing will get more steady. Now, let's deal with the overwhelm. There's something bottled up inside of you that needs to be worked through. And I don't mean to just blow up or rage or something. Research shows that venting anger does not decrease anger over time. So while you're walking or doing squats in your office, let me tell you a short story. About 17 years ago, I was working wilderness therapy. I was trying to finish up classes to qualify for grad school. I had papers to grade and a test to finish, and I was supposed to be going out for another shift, an 8-day shift, even though I hadn't even gotten a full break from my last shift. I was constantly working overtime. 8 days in the desert with a group of teenagers is already pretty stressful, but as usual, this week I was being paired with another brand new staff because I had the most experience, which meant I was basically responsible for everything out there, or so my over-accommodating brain thought. So I kept telling myself, everything's fine, you got this, while at the same time thinking, how am I ever going to get my homework done? And thinking, they don't have enough senior staff if I don't go out today. I have to go into the field or else I'll inconvenience them, which I considered to be a mortal sin as well. I thought things like, I can't ask for help or else I'm letting them down. I was trapped. No matter what I did, I was going to let someone down. So my body responded to all of this stress by making me nauseous and dizzy. I thought I was going to throw up. I thought I might pass out. I didn't actually think that I was feeling anxious or stressed. I just thought it was another day in the life of Emma. But now I'm sick. I was so sick that I couldn't go into the field that day. Work managed to find someone else to rely on, and I got my paper turned in. And suddenly, my nausea and my dizziness went away. I realized that all of my symptoms were actually an anxiety attack. So what causes anxiety attacks? Usually, anxiety attacks happen when a ton of stress builds up over time, paired with not being able to take action to manage that stress. Every time we feel some stress, that's a physical response in our body. The fight, flight, freeze response is supposed to help you fight off a saber-toothed tiger. But when you can't take a physical action, it makes your body buzz with cortisol and adrenaline, and those chemicals make your emotions feel like they're going to explode. So where panic attacks can seem to come out of the blue or be triggered by a phobia, anxiety attacks are caused by avoidance and overwhelm, by suppressing emotions, thinking things like, I shouldn't feel this way, I have to calm down or everyone else will notice, and that would be so catastrophic. Or thinking, I'm so angry, but I have to act nice. Right? The activated response is supposed to trigger an action, but in these situations, we just try to suppress that reaction, usually because of internal or social pressure. Trying to force yourself to calm down can fuel the anxiety cycle. You're accidentally sending the message that on top of everything else going on in your life, your feelings are stressful too. So for months maybe, you've tried to just work harder, just do more, just be tougher, just be more patient. But you can't just avoid something over and over and hope that it doesn't explode later. And you know where that leads? Here you are, doing jumping jacks in your cubicle because your ancient brain can't really tell the difference between too many emails and a tiger that you need to run away from. And that's also why you can't usually think your way out of a panic attack. You heard my ridiculous thoughts when I was freaking out at the field office. All my thoughts just kept focusing on somehow doing more and being perfect, which fueled instead of resolved the problem. Okay, so at this point, you've been exercising for like 5 minutes. Ready to talk about the next step? Exercise can make you feel a little better, but it does not solve the problem that got you here. So you've got to learn healthy ways to work through huge emotions. So one of the best ways is to take this huge flood of emotions and thoughts and make it concrete. Take the internal and make it external. So here's what I recommend. A brain dump. Write it all down. Stream of thought. This does not have to make sense. Don't worry about grammar. Just write it all down. Research shows that it's best to manually write on a piece of paper or a scratch pad. But sometimes when I'm really overwhelmed, I just go for a long walk and I just talk into the notes app on my phone. It all comes out a bit messy, but I'm moving my body and dumping all those wild thoughts out of my brain and onto my phone. Usually within 15 to 30 minutes, I'm feeling a lot better. Okay, but we aren't done because here's the part where we're preventing panic and anxiety attacks in the future. When you've calmed down a bit, look at what you just wrote down. What kind of problems are fueling your anxiety? What actions do you wish you could take but you haven't? What is stopping you? What beliefs are you holding that are stopping you from taking action? Can you identify one action item, one problem that you can physically take action on, that you can actually solve? Now, you might be able to make a huge list of problems, and if that makes you feel better, go for it. But in the end, you need to take that list and identify 1 to 3 action items. No more than that. And then you want a smaller piece of paper or a Post-it note. You want to write down the action that you are going to take to resolve this problem. It might take sitting down and doing your taxes, or having a difficult conversation, or setting a boundary in a relationship, or saying no to so many commitments. So you make a plan. How are you going to take action? Now, this is how we stop the anxiety cycle. When we perceive a situation to be dangerous, whether that's a tiger or speaking up at work, our brain triggers the anxiety response, the fight, flight, freeze response. But when we take action to resolve that problem, our brain will trigger the sympathetic response to calm down our body. So when I was having an anxiety attack at the field office, the problems that were fueling my anxiety included taking on too many responsibilities, believing that I couldn't say no and I could never let people down, not scheduling enough time to do my homework. The action I wish I could take, but I felt like I couldn't, was saying, I can't go into the field today. What was stopping me was my belief that I couldn't ask for my own needs to be met, and a false belief that I was so important that they couldn't replace me. So, in the end, my action was I didn't go into the field. I stayed home, I finished my assignment, I took some rest time, and the next shift I was ready to go. This helped me learn that it was okay to ask for help, that it was the boss's responsibility, not mine, to make sure there were enough staff for the week, and that the world didn't end when I couldn't solve everyone's problems. And that helped me prevent more anxiety attacks in the future. Now, some problems take a long time to solve, and you can't solve them in an instant. Let's say that one of your kids is having behavior issues and is being really disrespectful. To work on this problem, the action item isn't going to solve the problem immediately because we can't control other people's behaviors. You're going to have to do some education, maybe read some books, take some courses, talk with an expert on parenting. You're going to need to improve your relationship with Johnny and take the time to teach him the right way to act. And then set up a chart maybe to help him be motivated and track his progress. If this were the problem that was stressing me out, I'd make a list of things like buy the book Parenting the Explosive Child, call the school counselor to explore resources, and spend some quality time with Johnny today. Those are 3 actionable steps. and I would take action on at least one of them. By clarifying action items and taking one step, you send a message to your nervous system that we can do this, it's going to be okay, and it will start to calm down. Okay, so there are the steps for the activation method for managing anxiety attacks. Burn off those stress chemicals, do a brain dump, problem solve. What kind of problems are fueling your anxiety? What action do you wish you could take but you haven't? What belief is stopping you? And then, can you identify one action item, one problem that you can actually solve, or one step you can actually take? I hope you can see how facing your problems and resolving them actually solves the underlying problem of anxiety attacks. Avoidance and suppression leave us feeling trapped and scared until that pressure builds up inside of us and our anxiety explodes. If you do these steps regularly, before your anxiety is overwhelming, you can face and solve problems before they build up to the explosion point. A regular practice of journaling and problem solving can really prevent anxiety attacks. And when you do it with a therapist, you can often learn creative ways to solve problems that you didn't think were possible to solve. I've also got a free mini course on panic and anxiety attacks on my website. It'll walk you through the difference between panic and anxiety attacks, the bad advice that fuels panic attacks, and how to break the cycle of panic attacks. A few people even share their stories of how they overcame years of panic. And that course also has 3 practical walkthroughs for dealing with panic and anxiety in the moment. Okay, links in the description. I hope that's helpful. Thank you for watching and take care. Hey, real quick, if you found any part of this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up or share it with someone who could benefit from it today. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much and take care.